Thank you for the kind introduction. And I'm also happy to see you all well caffeinated back from the coffee break, because I think we have 30 minutes of fun ahead of us. My name is Matthias Holder. I'm head of AI at UZIN UTZ. We are based in Ulm, Germany. Currently, we still have the world's highest church tower, but we are being challenged, I think, from the guys in Barcelona. And I have been working at this company for 6.5 years now. And in the first 5 years, I dedicated my very being to introducing our PIM and MAM system, so our product information management and media asset management system, to the entire company globally, essentially. And as of March 2023, I've been working in the role of furthering all AI developments at the company, and as such, I will be presenting on what was currently coined a great workplay on awareness, so empowering the workforce for a new age. And as I think it doesn't go without saying what we do, I consulted with a dear friend and colleague of mine on how to best describe our company. She goes by a curious name, Gemini. And we agreed that the best way to demonstrate it to you is to catapult you back to your childhood, to your early childhood, and do this in the format of a fairy tale. So here goes. Once upon a time, good-humored King UZIN UTZ ruled the land of floors and walls, not with an iron fist, but with a keen eye for quality and craftsmanship. His 6 children, each a master of their trade, governed the 6 duchies of his kingdom, ensuring every surface, from subfloor to ceiling, was a testament to their skill. Duke Codex, with a twinkle in his eye and a dab of his potent adhesive, ruled the Duchy of Codex. Tiles and stone, no matter how unruly, adhered to his command, creating magnificent mosaics that defied gravity. Duchess Palman, elegant and graceful, brought life to wooden floors in her prosperous duchy. With her special finishes and oils, she transformed dull planks into shimmering masterpieces, reflecting light like 1,000 tiny mirrors. In the bustling duchy of Wolf, the industrious Duke Wolf forged mighty machines that tamed even the most stubborn subfloors. His grinders and strippers roared to life, smoothing and leveling the land, preparing it for the artistry to come. Duke Arturo, flamboyant and visionary, ruled over a realm of design and innovation. His floor coverings, from resilient masterpieces to textured wonders, transformed dull rooms into stylish spaces, each a testament to his unique vision. Duke Pajarito, ever the dexterous craftsman, ruled the sunny southern duchy. He equipped both floor layers and painters with precision tools, turning every hand into an instrument of artistry, ensuring every brush stroke and every tile placement was perfect. And finally, the steady Duke UZIN, much like his father, presided over the foundations of the kingdom. With his primers, levelers, and moisture control systems, he guaranteed a solid and lasting base for every floor, ensuring the kingdom's structures stood the test of time. Together, the 6 siblings, each a master of their craft, created the most magnificent floors and walls the world had ever seen. And under the wise rule of King UZIN UTZ, everyone lived happily ever after, or at least until the next renovation project called upon their expertise. And what would a good fairy tale be without a nice illustration? This was actually carried out by the brother of my colleague, ChatGPT, because it's far better at creating illuminating pictures. So this is the more professional slide we usually are equipped with when giving presentations. So you can see we are essentially comprised of 6 strong brands, which I just told you about in a, I hope, funny way. And so basically what we do is we are a globally acting developer and manufacturer of all kinds of flooring systems. And it pains me to say that most of the time the action happens beneath the shiny ground that you actually walk on, aside from Arturo, which is the only kind of floor we are actually selling, because this is the kind of floor you put in a bucket, whirl around, and put on the floor. You can find that, for example, in cafeterias or parking garages. So I want to tell you about how we learned to stop worrying and love AI. Fans of Stanley Kubrick might know where that line comes from. I can see Christoph is a fan of Stanley Kubrick's. Good. So at first we started like dear old Socrates in the most modest way. So we acknowledged we know that we know nothing. So the obvious answer to this is learn. What AI solutions are there? What can AI do? And more importantly, what can it do? And how much AI do we really need, since we do not have Amazon's or Google's budget available to us? So the next logical step is to act on it. So one is we did a so-called IT Innovation Day. So for that, I have to quickly go into where I work. So I work in one of our two IT departments. We have IT management, who are concerned with all the infrastructure, so handing out, the cell phones and laptops. And then we have IT innovation, which is solely concerned with the digitalization of the entire company, essentially. And as part of our doing, we managed a certain day, which we called IT Innovation Day, and invited all employees who would like to come at our headquarters in Ulm. And we were essentially run over. We had to cap it at 48 people due to fire safety requirements, since we do live in Germany. We were astonished at how many people came actually, and from how many departments essentially. So we had people from production coming, we had secretaries coming and joining us. And the idea was we had to look at 7 AI tools, one of them ChatGPT 3.5 at the time. And all of a sudden we realized, wow, there is so much interest in our workforce, which was described as a luxury before, but we do have such a workforce. And as part of that, we realized, wow, so now all have the hots for AI, but we do not have an AI directive. So that's a job well done. So to rectify that situation, we immediately got working on an AI directive. Again, an esteemed colleague of mine volunteered to do the first draft, ChatGPT, by leaving out, and the interesting part was ChatGPT actually left out all the data privacy parts from that thing. So then we gave this to our legal department and to our data protection officer. And what we got is exactly what we didn't want to. And that is exactly why there's a little arrow there hinting towards the AI strategy, because it took us about 5 months to establish this AI directive, because in the process of establishing the directive, the AI strategy formed. And we wanted our employees to enjoy using AI, not to be afraid of being fired when doing so. So that is how we finally passed a very disarmed kind of AI directive, basically serving as a guideline of what they could do. Then in September of 2023, we received what was back then considered the new Rolex in the meeting room. We received an invitation from OpenAI to join their enterprise program. We had been waiting for, I think, 3 months. And we decided within, I might say, only 30 minutes with the board to buy 150 of those accounts at the staggering price of $108,000. Naturally, it's not enough to only throw accounts at people, but you also need to supply them with prompting courses. And the story behind that one is I attended maybe 3 or 4 prompting courses myself and was always disappointed because you did basically 1 hour of prompting and 8 hours of talking in each of these courses. So I called on our AI agency and told them, let's devise a course together. And that is exactly what we did. So we offered to all of these 150 account holders in-person trainings in groups of 10. And this actually does include the entire board who volunteered to be there for a 6-hour training. I mean, initially they said it's 4 hours max, but then it lasted 5.5 hours because they got so interested. So why did we go for ChatGPT Enterprise? This is probably at this point not so important to mention, but I still thought I would mention the differences in that product tier. Can I do? Oh yeah, it works marvelously. So the important part is this red part. So in both the team tier, which was not available back then, and the enterprise tier, the data is excluded from training. So whichever we put in there, we could be, well, kind of sure that it wasn't being processed. So what we told people is basically you can enter anything, but still try and refrain from putting in chemical formulation, which is essentially our company goal, just to be safe, because it's still a US-run service. So this all happened in 2023. So what were the successes in 2024? So one, we had 150 ChatGPT users. We had, and those were those accounts were strategically placed in the respective departments, naturally, I should add that. We had 50 AI use cases for which I did not have to do anything because they were reported back from the workforce to me, because quite honestly, the guy in the purchasing department does a far better job than I would do at his job. So why not ask them? And then we had 20 custom GPTs created by UZIN UTZ employees, which they really loved to use. And these are only the ones I know about because these were the public ones. A lot of people created also their own custom GPTs just for their personal usage. Then I created an internal AI expert network. So basically, we are a multinational acting company. So I selected representatives from each brand and from each country who would join in monthly AI expert meetings and who would be always up to date on the AI endeavors and can also later help with the support role. That was the idea. And also a format which we called AI Use Case of the Month. So in our intranet, we use Confluence for that. We would do a posting once a month at what you can do with AI, and not only restricted to everything concerned with ChatGPT, but also other use cases. I'm going to go into some of our use cases later on. So the very simple use cases, and these are probably not too exciting, but still valuable. Chat with your document. Text suggestions for components of complex documents. If you think about the sustainability report and you need to enter or submit your tidbit from your department. A business English translator was created by someone because he felt, this is an elderly colleague and he just felt safer with that. So he would write his emails in English and then pass it into the business English translator to give them a more professional spin. Websites, they could do search engine optimization and content generation. A lot of teams also used it to plan their team building activities, which is fun because you can simply enter, we have this one person who doesn't like to swim, but the other person doesn't like walking on grass, so what remains, basically. Then obviously social media postings or rapid summaries of lengthy documents. This is probably also interesting for the legal representatives here in this room. Plan sightseeing activities for business trips with customers. Then a complaints management. So essentially you receive a very emotional email from a customer. You put it in there and it gives you essentially a psychoanalysis of how to best tackle not the customer, but the problem. Then ultimately, obviously, compare several documents. And I'm going to go into more detail about that because now let's have a look at the custom GPTs created back then. One was a product comparison expert, which was done by a product manager at the brand UZIN. So essentially what it does, it analyzes product data sheets and displays it in a nice framework. And it can be used to compare two or more product data sheets. And it goes without saying that those do not have to be our product data sheets necessarily, if you catch my drift. So the benefit of this tool is we can use it for market intelligence, but also for product portfolio optimization. Second one, my dear colleague Lucy, this time not an AI, real person, created so-called Lucy's SEO box. She's in charge of all the websites activities globally. So it would assist with search engine optimization. It would essentially offer these three services here. You can see here within the conversation starters. It would help create SEO optimized product texts. And the benefit is that we have an overall better quality of our online content, which is important because from my time in PIM or working for PIM, I know that a lot of people simply copy-pasted the text we are using on our product data sheets to the website text, and this is naturally penalized by Google because it is duplicate content. So it really helped us because you see it's a lot of work to do even one great product text and then you need to do another one. It's a pain in the neck and people really enjoyed using that one. The last one was more of a concept kind of thing. So somebody created within only 30 minutes a so-called UTools service assistant. So both the brands Wolf and Payaritu, who center on these machines we have, are subsumized under the UTools GmbH. And what this was is a prototype of an AI assistant for troubleshooting machines. So all they did is they uploaded 3 operating manuals of 3 machines and asked it, and it would guide you step by step through the process of finding the error. So this could either benefit the customer service or even be a direct assistance for customers. And we are currently checking of integrating such a thing into our machine management application, which we offer customers to manage these machines. I should maybe add these machines are extremely expensive. So we're talking about machines which could essentially rip the floor out of this room. And they can be in the ballpark of 10,000 euros. So you really want to know where they are, what the service intervals are, and so on. Next on, what about the graphical aspect? So we did give Midjourney accounts to several media designers at the company, because I find it's just it's just a no-brainer to put this into a company, because you can create an infinite amount of photos and videos, images, sorry. And the Pro plan is only $576 per year. And if you think about what we spend on stock photos usually, that's really a no-brainer to use. And by the way, you will have to use the Pro plan if you make more than 1 million in revenue per year. And this is just an example prompt of what we are basically using this for. So essentially here we wanted to create a scenery with a nice floor, with a focus on the floor, in order to Photoshop into that some of our machines essentially, or maybe somebody who is working the ground. So we have you have now seen what we have been doing up until December of 2024. So what does the future hold for UZIN UTZ? Quick time checker, looking good. So what are the next steps with artificial intelligence? So I'm really happy, and I did probably not say how large the company is before. So we are 1,500 people with 500 million in revenue a year. And from these 150 employees who had an account, we are upscaling to, well, essentially 1,500 accounts by the end of this month. So I'm really out of work this month. And what we also will do is AI and prompting training videos based on these courses, which we devised last year, are currently being produced by a great working student who's working with me and who's very adept at using screencasting software. And then lastly, naturally implement a number of those very specific AI use cases, because so far we are only concentrating on generative AI. So what are these nicer use cases? But first, let's maybe first look at the solution we are going to introduce by the end of this month. So this is called the KI Cockpit, German name because it's a German startup we bought it from. And what it is nothing but a simple platform to which we can add AI models as we please. So this is an API-based service. Why are we doing this? One is our workforce is so interested in AI models that just increasing the amount of ChatGPT enterprise accounts wouldn't really do it. Secondly, increasing those ChatGPT accounts to this number of 1,500 people would essentially cost us more than 1 million euros a year. And on top, this is the better solution. So right now we are offering them GPT-4o Mini, GPT-4o, Gemini 1.5 Flash, Gemini 1.5 Pro and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And I really do not understand why people wouldn't talk to each other, because only recently I had a talk with the head of global customer success at OpenAI in San Francisco, because they wanted to know why we didn't extend the subscription, essentially. And I told them the ideal setting for me would be you guys talking to the guys at Anthropic and at Google, and present us with a platform like this, because you're the main players in the field. If you had a platform where we could access all of your models, this would be exactly what people want. But yeah, we'll see if that happens. I doubt it. So what is also great about this solution is that we will have a library. So this is like the prompt library that was formerly cited by the law people. So we can essentially create our own AI assistants, but the fun part is we can do this with so many different models now. So we can choose whichever model is best for the task. And this is also why this solution is far better than the one we had before. In addition, you would be able also to, and I do not have screenshots of this, you would be able to create pictures here. And there's also a data chat option where we are using RAG, so to chat with our data. There's going to be several use cases which are going to be integrated into this over the course of this year. One, for example, is a knowledge database of all of the UZIN products. So we're starting with one brand only at this point, and the other ones I'm going to demonstrate now. Great. So these are the more specific use cases we are working on. This is something that has been brought to our attention by our colleagues in the US. So basically what they do in winter months is they would purchase temperature controlled transports for every single shipment containing our liquid products. So think of adhesives or primers, those are liquid products. And if they go below 0, they would essentially freeze and you can dump the product. So the goal is to get a chat assistant for logistics employees that will recommend actions for them to take based on the positive side effect of global warming, namely that not too many winters are so cold anymore. And what this would do is essentially we would have an agent-based solution. So we would start off with ChatGPT, understanding the customer request, something like I'm shipping something to Cincinnati from our plant in Denver, and so on. Then you would enter the estimated delivery date. And what it would do then is calculate the potential waypoints to the destinations using Google Maps, and following this, access the weather network, as they call it in the US. When I asked which weather network do you trust, the answer was none. But still, and we would retrieve the lows, the forecasted lows, low temperatures for these days, and then make an elaborate guess on whether it is it is sensible to book a thermal transport or not. And a solution like this will set us back about 7,000 euros, and it's going to save us somewhere in the range of $15,000 a year. So this is quite magnificent. Another one is a very simple use case. So time check, yeah, not too bad. So we have a project letter assistant, because whenever we do a project at the company, the problem is that not all employees really want to fill this project letter in. So we just want to devise a chat assistant for all employees, which will guide them through the process. Spoiler alert, I tasked several students at Hochschule Neu-Ulm with this, and we already have 4 solutions. So all you need for something like this is software or money/time. Another one, which is really aimed at our customers, is video translations via AI, because one learning from the COVID pandemic was that we bought our own film studio, and we are now basically offering application videos to our customers. So how do you apply this product? How would I work with it? But the problem is we have monolingual technicians, and international construction sites, also in Germany, obviously. And studio time is naturally valuable. So the thing is, we wanted an AI solution, and we found it to lip sync videos for customers in as many languages as possible to provide them a better customer support. And if you're talking about a 3-minute video, I think it costs us 20 euros, something like this, to have it translated with lip synchronization. Without lip synchronization, it's even less. So, I mean, the application is obvious, but in this case, we naturally also have to obey the venerable GDPR. But we are working on that, and so far, this is already in place, actually. We are using WAI for this. All right, so last part of this presentation, and my favorite one, social responsibility. So essentially, how do we equip employees for the future, and what is important to me beyond the company premises? One, just think about I'm not going to go into all of the history of AI, I promise, but I just wanted to give you an impression. I mean, it started in the 1960s, essentially, when also the term artificial intelligence was coined. And you can see that there was a lot of disappointment because the computer power was not available back then. And from the 2000s onwards, the inventions in the AI business are multiplying because now we do have the computing power, culminating in that great success by OpenAI, who had 1 million users within only 5 days for their ChatGPT service. If you think about that, and if you also think about this, because if you just consider your car navigation systems, Netflix and Amazon suggestions, and whatever else is listed here, I mean, people are surrounded by AI on a daily basis. So why wouldn't you give them the tool set to be able to not only survive their professional lives, but also their personal lives? So that is where I think that social responsibility comes in. So what is my outlook in the AI business? One, AI has obviously awakened from hibernation, probably around 2010. Human beings versus AI, I don't like that at all, because I personally think it's going to be human beings in unison with AI. Personally, I see AI as a powerful tool. And to me, this is nothing but the introduction of computers, when also people were afraid for their jobs, and now everybody essentially can use a computer, and it has become our second nature to do so. Then obviously the potential is underestimated and overestimated at the same time. And then the last part, Europe versus China versus the US. Yeah, it's fascinating how the US are constantly shelling out new models, essentially every 6 weeks or so. China is working on humanoid robots to help us with our most tedious tasks, which we don't want to do anymore. But I'm really proud of Europe, because we're doing an outstanding job in this business at regulating the whole thing, yet again. So I'm really wishing for this to change, because we have the talent. I mean, we have it until they leave for the US. So I really think some change has to come from the European Union in that regard, not to basically smother every effort that we make in the AI business. So what is important in this world of AI? Connect with other companies who do something with AI. It's not too many, unfortunately, and that's also the reason why I'm here today, because I really wanted to connect with other companies. It's really hard to find people who are apparently as brave as we are and give GenAI to all of the employees. Go to associations and join expert networks, university and schools, but most importantly, network inside your own organization. Talk to the people, because I really think it's your turn now. You have to show social responsibility in empowering your workforce. You're going to have a super loyal workforce. And if you do that, and I mean, can you guess why I put this in brackets? Well, I mean, it's essentially because it's not important at all if you take care of those 2 points, because then you won't have to address this. Fun fact from my company, we have a department who specializes in offering courses to our employees. So all kinds of courses, from helping with your back issues, but also with psychological issues and so on. That's like burnout prevention and so on. And they approached me about a course addressing the fear of AI. We set a date we set the date in March 2024 for October 2024. And by August, it was clear to us that nobody was interested in that course anymore, because they had already heard from their colleagues who had a ChatGPT account that it could not do anything. And that is the best feedback I ever got, because this is when people realize it's not going to be a danger to their existence. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.